Good evening and welcome to the Craft Beer Nation Friday Night Hangout. It is tonight's episode 189, and it is celebrating Founders Brewery, which is one of our favorite breweries. Technically, probably not considered craft beer anymore since
Oh, come on.
that sort of co-ownership or whatever it is. I think the Brewers Association booted them off the list, but
They're
I
legit. They can
I
brew.
ignore that too. I ignore
Yeah.
that, whether they're on that list or not, because they make spectacular beers. We have a pretty small group at the moment. Hopefully some people will be joining in a little bit. Before we dive in, though, just want to say this is Craft Beer Nation. You can find us at craftbeernation.org on the web. And from there, you can jump off to all of our various social media presences, from Google+, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. We're all over the place in one form or another. Right now, though, we have Jeffrey J. Davis. How you doing, Jeff?
What's up?
Are you home now, or
Yeah,
are
I'm
you
at home.
traveling still?
I'm at home. No, I'm traveling, starting vacation tomorrow, but I'm sitting at home right now.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I've actually been off this week, and today's my last day. I actually had to pop into work for a couple minutes, unfortunately, but
You've been working your ass off lately, so I'm glad you got some time off.
yeah, it was nice. A nice, relaxing week of doing really nothing.
Sweet.
Which is rare.
Yep.
And we also have Doug Nolan with us. Hey, Doug, how you doing?
Doing well, and I have not had any time off, and I will not have any time off until Christmas gets here. So, you guys can suck it.
Until the Orvis return season happens, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, like I said, tonight is, I guess, all about Founders. I actually don't have any beers from Founders tonight, which is pretty rare. Usually I do have something in the fridge from them. I didn't realize tonight was Founders. I thought it was after the New Year, after the holidays. So I am just drinking a Sierra Nevada Celebration because it's that time of year. So we're going to go to Jeffrey first, and hopefully Jeffrey's got a Founders beer available here that he can share and tell us about.
Yeah, I'm on style. So actually, sometimes like I have a lot of time and I go out and stock up and get like 4 or 5 different on-style beers, and this is one of those weeks, and then nobody showed up for the hangout. So I'm drinking Founders Ridiculous.
Oh, cool.
This is they call it I guess I would call it an Imperial Red Ale. It's a nice beer. It's good looking beer. Nice kind of amber red color. Proper glassware, Dougie, for your benefit. Okay. And it's I've had this. I had it. I think they just released this year, so it says 2015 on it. I'd never seen it before this year, and I've had it once already this year. And it's a good beer. It's it's a pretty big, pretty high hoppiness. I think it's 90 IBUs, 9.5%. It smells like and tastes like Chinook and Simcoe. Not exactly sure what it is, but you get like you get grapefruit up front, pretty big grapefruit, and it does have a kind of a caramel malt backbone. And then on the finish, it's pineier, so I would call it a very solid Imperial Red Ale, and my thing is, I'm just like about the hype sometimes. I mean, so this thing has a label that's like it's like a gold thread chia pet patch that would be on Hyde's denim jacket on that '70s show, so so I'm looking for something really off the top. But I mean, if they called it very solid Imperial Red Ale, I'd be all over it. But just it's a little bit, the hype of the name is a little bit over the top. It's not the dankest beer I've ever had by far. It's pretty caramely for a dank beer, but it's very good. It's good beer. I just think the marketing guys got a little bit overboard on the label and name and stuff, but it's solid.
That's cool. Yeah, it's one that I've heard about, but I don't know if I have it in my area yet. But I do like the fact that they did something different with the label. I'm a big fan of Founders' regular lineup. They're almost like classical, like painting style.
Yep.
Whether it's like Rembrandt or somebody, I forget who some of them kind of look like.
Yeah, this isn't a painting. It's kind of like Chia Pet.
Yeah.
70s font. Yeah.
The texture that you can almost know what it would feel like if it was like real.
And it says on the old World Wide Web that it's Chinook, Mosaic, and Simcoe.
Okay, Simcoe, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't get a lot of Mosaic out of it, but it must be in there, but yeah.
And just remember, it's not ridiculous, just ridiculous, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the name, ridiculous. So
Yep.
So it was one of their backstage beers. It was their,
that's what I thought, but it doesn't say that anywhere on the label.
None of the backstage ones say that I know of.
Okay.
For example, like the most recent one's that Project Pam.
Yeah.
And then so this is the one before the current one.
So it is a backstage release. I thought
Correct.
It was. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure exactly when it was released. It doesn't say. I don't see it right away on the website in the write-up of it. It just talks about being a Imperial Red IPA, 9.5% alcohol, 90 IBUs.
Yep. That's about it.
So what makes something like a part of their what's it, backstage series or whatever you said?
Yeah.
So a few years ago they started these big bottles, and it was kind of, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a huge Founders history buff here, but from what I recall, a lot of these beers were originally things that had been kind of brew pub only, things that they were just kind of releasing locally, may not have ever bottled before. Things like the Canadian Breakfast Stout,
Blushing Monk, Rubaeus.
Okay. Yeah. And so they're kind of each year, I guess Blushing Monk this year made a repeat from the original year, but each kind of release is usually something, different that hasn't really been done before with their bottles. But
well, that's cool. I guess it gives them a chance to experiment more.
Well, the thing is, I think Canadian Breakfast Stout is usually pretty readily available. I feel like they make it fairly often, and it's usually only like a brew pub only release.
CBS, hey, look who's here. I've never had CBS, and I hear it's amazing, but I don't think they've ever bottled it, right, Doug?
It was in the Backstage series. I don't know if it was the first year or the second year, but yes, it has been bottled. It is amazing.
It's a bottle with a like a Canadian Mountie on it, I think, right?
Yeah, it's got a man on a horse.
Yeah, but I had CBS at a beer festival last February.
Nice. I've never had it. Heard a lot about it.
It's good if you can ever get your hands on it.
Yep.
I hear a lot of people prefer it to KBS even. So.
Sure.
Well, hands down.
It's better. Yeah, it's better than KBS.
Welcome, Randy. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Doing well.
Pretty good. But as far as Doug is up next beer-wise, so what do you have, Doug?
So I've got the Dark Penance.
Okay.
This is their Imperial Black IPA that is 8.9% alcohol and 100 IBUs.
Wow.
So I don't know what hops, or what I guess it says are hand selected Chinook and Centennial. So you really kind of get that fruity, floral, piney right up front, but then it's just like roast, burnt malt that just finishes it out, and I can't get on board with this beer.
But that's what a Cascadian should be, right?
Oh yeah. No, I get it. I'm sure this may be a great example of what these beers should be, but it's just not a style that I've ever really got on board with. Like, if first taste and first smell, as I'm smelling it, as I'm drinking it, I get all the, that really flavorful, bitter hop profile. But then as it, you kind of take that swallow and that mouthful, feel the lingering flavor just kind of goes from that citrusy hops to that, just a robust, rich, roasted malts, caramely, burnt chocolate, kind of, dark chocolatey, kind of
bitter. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Doug. I'm with you on this one because it's like, I don't know. I don't, outside of a stout, roastiness and hops just don't do it for me. And I mean, the only reason why it works in a stout is because you got so much malt there to balance out the bitterness from the hops. But hoppy bitterness and roastiness, where both flavors are distinguishable within the beer, it's not my jam.
Yeah, I mean, I'll drink it. I mean, it's not like repulsive and then I would pour it out. I mean,
Right.
but it's just, I mean, I don't know. Like, I can't. I keep wanting to like the style. It's some I find more enjoyable than others, and I don't know. I think there's a lot of different takes on this style. Whether it's, are you trying to make an IPA and then kind of then make it stout-like, or are you, starting out with like a base kind of an American stout and then hopping the crap out of it to make it more, a stout-like IPA versus an IPA like stout. That made any sense?
I think it's a pretty hard style to do right, and like you say, there's a lot of different variations on it, from more coming from the IPA base or coming from a porter base, hoppy porter. But I remember, I think we had a Cascadian Hangout like a year ago or something, and I know I had that dark penance, and I thought it was a pretty decent. I mean, it's not my favorite style, but that was a pretty good. I thought it was, pretty good.
Of the ones that I've had of this style, I mean, yeah, it may be one of the better ones I've had.
Yeah.
But overall, like the style, just I didn't unfortunately get it. I mean, I got up today to go do some shopping, and I was trying to find some things that I hadn't had. I don't recall if I've had this before, so that's why I picked this one up. That's why this is the only Founders beer I had, because there's so much other stuff I had, and I was trying to branch out and try something different from them. But unfortunately, this is the only beer that I come across that I haven't really had before. So.
Yeah. Now, I'm a big fan of black IPAs, so I'm a bit more in the minority in this.
So what's an example for you, Charles, of a good Cascadian black IPA? What are some of your faves?
There are 4 that come to mind. 2 are actually local breweries within a short driving distance from me. The one is Black Horse by Horseheads Brewing, and another one is Raven by Roosterfish up in Watkins Glen.
Never heard of either one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not bottled or anything. You can always get them locally, and both of those are pretty excellent black IPAs. But as far as more, I don't know if they're national, but much more wider distribution. I'd say the 2 best black IPAs I've had in the last couple of years. One was from Smutty Nose. It was called Noonan's Black IPA, which they put out for the first time a couple of years ago. And Peak Organics Brewing's Hop Noir.
Yeah.
That's an excellent one.
I think another one that's good, and I know that Randy hates this beer, but I think it's awesome, is that it's called Blacker, BLAKKR. It's a collab between Three Floyds, Real Ale, and Surly. I mean, I think that's a great Cascadian if you can ever find that.
What's that one out of South Carolina, Randy?
Black Pearl from RJ Rockers.
It's not too bad.
It's not that
I makes a pretty good one too.
It's not that I hate Blacker. It's just that I mean, it's a black IPA. I mean, how do you make an outstanding black IPA?
Just do it well, man.
I mean,
what about Wookie Jack? Wookie Jack's solid, right?
So, but Wookie Jack is different in the sense that it has rye in it, right? So it's a little
it's a
different
rye
from
black IPA. So
yeah, it's a little different.
I kind of put that in its own category.
Yeah.
I know. Go ahead. Sorry.
The thing is, I typically don't care. Well, obviously, I don't care for black IPAs, and I don't care for rye beers. But Wookie Jack, which is a rye black IPA, I can drink that.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of rye beers too. I like it.
I mean, I tried to brew one time before, and when I was creating my black IPA recipe, it literally was straight double IPA and added just enough like roasted barley for Beersmith to tell me the SRM was going to be like 20. So mine was like all IPA with just a very kind of hint of the whole roasted flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually like the ones that do it right. I like the way they combine that hoppy, like piney, and the roast together. Like Peak does a really good job of it. Peak Organic, not the 4 Peak or whatever that just sold to AB and
Sell out.
Four
But,
Peaks, like Ricky's Brewery, just sold
Yeah,
out.
man.
Yeah.
God, that was a waste. It's so we don't have to deal with the kilt lifter anymore.
According to the article, it was 60% of their sales, that beer.
God, that beer sucks.
Hey, you know, Ricky's at a tasting right now with his friends, and they're watching this.
Yeah, I know. I don't care. Ricky, kilt lifter sucks. It's the worst wee heavy ever.
I've never had any of their beers.
I
so-
still drink it every time I do this regular flight out to Nevada and I connect through Phoenix and I got like a 42-minute layover, so I like run and I go order a kilt lifter and like pound it in like 17 minutes and then run to my flight, but it's still it's a pretty whack wee heavy.
Yeah, like he said it to me once before, and I drank it, and I was like, it's not terrible, but it's not great. And then I was like, man, it's no Duck Rabbit, for example. Like
Yeah, exactly.
Duck Rabbit's wee heavy is killer.
I'm gonna send him a list. I put it on my do not trade list. Yeah.
Hey, look, that beer has a special spot in Ricky's heart.
Yeah, exactly.
So let that man live.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right.
All right,
As
let's
he drinks,
move on to,
his Vanilla Bean Dark Lord
I guess
tonight.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
guess we'll give Ricky and his friends a big shout out.
Yeah.
We miss you, Ricky. If you were here
Miss
tonight.
you, Ricky. Ricky, you're so fine. We love your kilt lifter all the time. Hey, Ricky.
Yeah, what are you drinking tonight, Randy?
I am drinking a Founders Backwoods Bastard.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I've heard
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I've heard that one's pretty good.
It's
Yeah, it's
decent.
good.
It's
That's
decent.
in your Hall of Fame, isn't it, Doug?
What's that?
Is that beer's got to be in your Hall of Fame, right?
It is my favorite beer from Founders.
Yeah.
Really?
Cool.
Over
Sure.
KBS?
KBS would probably be for me. KBS probably is not in my top 5 Founders beers.
Wow.
My favorite beer from Founders is probably Imperial
Yeah,
Stout.
I was gonna say I think that's their most underappreciated beer.
The
You
Imperial
never
Stout.
hear
Imperial
anybody
Stout,
talking about it,
right?
and their Imperial Stout is amazing.
It's
Yeah.
delicious.
I got 2 of them in my cellar right now that I'm holding on to, and it's about to be released
Oh,
again
nice.
in a couple of months, I think. But
Is it?
that
That's
beer,
a seasonal though.
yeah.
Okay, but it's
that-
good.
And
You
they're
don't hear anybody
Nobody
talking
talks about
beer.
that. They never talk about that.
And that's the thing. So like last year was when like Imperial Stout really hit me, and I tasted it and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like this is not legal. Like this, it was so rich, like it felt like I was cheating or something. I don't know. It was such a silky, rich, roasty, malty, like such a delicious stout. And I'm like, why doesn't this beer get the hype that some of these
Yeah.
other less
Well, the
worthy
great-
beers get?
The crazy thing about it is that the first time when it comes to Founders and their stouts, yeah, it's breakfast stout, KBS, Canadian breakfast stout. Those are the ones you kind of always hear about. And then I had no idea the beer existed. Until a couple years ago, I'm like walking to a store, like Founders Imperial Stout. What the hell is
Yeah, what
this?
is this? Yeah.
And I buy it. I'm like, where have you been all my life?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for one of the it definitely is one of my top few non-barrel aged stouts out there. I mean, it is so good.
Cool.
So when does that come out? In like February or something? Or
To the Googles.
I can tell you in a little bit, but I'll talk a little
Yeah,
bit
so
about this
talk
beer.
about your Backwoods Bastard and how it compares to, what was it, Dirty Bastard? Is that the regular one?
So I could be wrong, but is Backwoods Bastard not Dirty Bastard, just aged in bourbon barrels?
that's
think
what I thought.
Yeah,
I think it's-
right? It's a barrel-aged version.
Yeah, but I think it's a little bit higher on the ABV.
Yeah, this one clocks in at 11.6.
Yeah, the regular one's Dirty Bastard's not holding anywhere near that.
And you know how like with a good wee heavy, you smell the malt in it, right?
Yeah.
Like especially with Dirty Bastard, like you can smell the malt in it. And this one on the nose, I mean, you get all that malt, but it's like perfectly woven in with like the oaky and the oakiness and the bourbon from the barrel. And I mean, every year that I've had this beer, I don't know how they do it, but it seems as if the blend every year is like spot on. You know, you get some of these beers where from year to year the flavor profile seems to change. But for me, like for example, with KBS, even with KBS, people can tell difference between the years. Even with Bourbon County Stout, Gil and I did a vertical with 12, 13, and 14, and we could taste differences between the years. But with this beer right here, it's super consistent. I mean, at least as far as my palate is concerned, it's super consistent. And on the nose, like I said, you get that maltiness, that bourbon, that oak. You get a little bit of vanilla notes, but the taste up front, one of the first tastes. Somebody's mic is giving a lot of feedback. But one of the first tastes you get when you drink this is you get bourbon, and you're smashed with bourbon, and it's legitimate bourbon.
Nice. I've had that the Backwoods Bastard once, and it was pretty spectacular.
But if it's if it was just Dirty Bastard, I mean, I think Dirty Bastard is like 8.5, and like Backwoods is like 11.5 or 11.6. You can't pick up 3 points of ABV just from a wet barrel age, can you?
Well, it depends on the definition of a wet barrel. If
Yeah,
wet barrel
like
means,
still has bourbon in it. It's half filled with bourbon. Yeah.
right. So I'm gonna check real quick to see what the ABV previous ABVs were for this
Other
beer.
years?
Yeah, because I don't know if they've all clocked in. I mean, 11.6 is a pretty specific
But it's
number.
always over 10, right? I mean, Backwoods is always 10 or 11. Seems like.
As far as I can remember.
Yeah.
As far as I can remember, yeah. What am I going to untap? Charles, what are you drinking, man? I mean, I'm sure you've already spoken about it.
Yeah, I'm actually off style. I thought the Founders Hangout was after the new year.
I said, Charles, you don't have your Founders Porter? Because we know you love that beer, bro.
Yeah, and that is probably my favorite Founders beer is their porter. I mean, that's probably my favorite porter, too. It's just...
Gil, too. You and Gil are in the same boat there, Charles.
Yeah, and locally here, where I am in the Finger Lakes area, they just got a massive shipment recently of the Founders Porter. It's like Wegmans has big displays just of that beer. So I've been
real?
Yeah. They've been highlighting that as one of the winter nice cold weather beers. And I've had my share already. And I was gonna pick up another 6-pack today because I was in the store. And I was like, no, that Founders Hangout's in a couple of weeks. I don't want to, waste the shelf space, my limited refrigerator shelf space I've got. So I went with, I was in the mood for hops, so I got some Sierra Nevada Celebration and some 6 Point Bengali.
So the 2013 Backwoods Bastard was 10.2%. 2014 was also 10.2%, and 2015 came in at 11.6%. 2012 was 10.2%. So this, in the last 4 years, this one's come in a whole percent and change bigger than the last 3. 11 was 10.2%. That seems to be a running theme. 10 was 10.2%.
So scratch that stuff about the blend being totally consistent, Randy.
Well, no. As far as the alcohol, maybe not, but the flavor, spot on. Yeah,
packed with flavor,
spot on. I mean, but Founders. I remember we had them on Pints and Quarts. We interviewed Dave Ingbers, and one of the specific beers that we were talking about was KBS. And I know a lot of us like to get KBS and we like to hold on to it and age it, but that beer is meant to be drank when you buy it because it's already been in barrels. It's already been aging for 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, he was very against aging it longer.
I like it fresh, actually. I've had it. The last time I bought it, I got 2 bottles, and I had one right away, and I aged another one for about 7 or 8 months, and I preferred it fresh.
Well, I mean, it's the coffee beer, man.
Fuck Dave. It's a 2011.
Hey, taking it back.
The cool thing about Founders is that apparently up in Michigan they got these limestone caves, and Founders owns one. So, people when KBS comes out, I mean, just like with any barrel aged beer, some people speak about the price and I don't think it's worth it. But if you consider the fact that Founders, when they brew this beer, KBS I'm talking about, they put this beer into bourbon barrels, they load them onto like trucks, and they drive them down into the cave, and they leave them there for 12 to 18 months, and then once the beer is aged, they put a tasting together, and they have to get, and this is the case with everybody who blends barrel aged beers, but they have to get samples from each barrel to get the specific blend right. So I mean, there's a lot that goes into these barrel aged beers. They don't just dump the beer in the barrel, take it out, bottle it, and let it run. You know what I'm saying? They actually make a solid effort toward getting some type of consistency with the blend. And so this is a beer that, I mean, the price point for that beer has to be passed along to us, considering they brewed this beer, didn't make any money off it. They bought bourbon barrels, hadn't been making any money off it. They aging this beer. They taking up space in the cave with this beer. They gotta pay the people who blend the beers. So that whole time while this beer is in the cave for 12 to 18 months, this is a product that they're not making money off of. They've brewed it, but they're not making money off it. So somebody.
How long you been on the InBev marketing program?
What are you talking? I'm just telling you what Dave said. What Dave said to us, man.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's honor the truth. If you go into your brewery and you see the your local brewery and you see these bourbon barrels on the floor, that's space that has to be paid for. That's real estate.
It's a rule. You don't make anything on any product until you sell it. So if you got to age it for 3 years, you got cost that's like buried in that inventory and the space and the barrels and everything else. Yeah, it's true.
Exactly. So you gotta pay for that real estate, and you gotta pay for that product that's just sitting there, not being, not turning a profit.
That's why it costs $7 a bottle or whatever, But it's worth it, It's good beer.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I mean, so I've never done like big verticals. I mean, this is probably the oldest. I've got 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. This is my oldest KBS. I wouldn't say it's that much better than like the Fort. I thought last year's was really good. I mean, like fresh out of the bottle was solid. So it's not like this is mind blowing compared to the other year. So I would kind of agree. You don't need to age the hell out of KBS. It's pretty good right off the bat.
So I've never had KBS fresh. Is it? Do you get any like heat from that beer when you drink it fresh?
I think it varies by year. I remember like the 13, I think, was like a little bit hot, like fresh out of the bottle. You're like, oh, this definitely needs another year. But I remember like last year's was pretty damn good, right off the shelf, You had some,
Charles?
Doug.
I know you
Doug
prefer
gone. I know Doug had somebody's gone. So yeah.
Yeah. But Charles prefers it fresh.
I think it was the 2013 that I had, and I liked the fact that you had the full burst of flavors there. Nothing was subdued at all in that beer. And when I aged the second bottle for, like I said, it was 6 or 8 months, the hotter notes of it were already muted, and I was surprised that there was that much of a difference between the same batch, just that far apart.
Yeah.
I think booziness, I mean that, hotness will wind down pretty quickly within a year, and then after that it's just sort of mellowing and getting it a little more integrated.
Yeah. And that's the interesting thing when you age beers. Certain beers, like for me, KBS, I like the fuller flavors. But then other beers, like if we go back to the original Three Beans from Six Point, to me, Three Beans was spectacular, brand new, but with about a year on it, that beer was just phenomenal.
Which is better, phenomenal or spectacular?
I'll go with phenomenal better than
Okay, just checking. Yeah.
Because that was one of those chocolate coffee beers, and depending upon the age of a few of the cans I had. Some were more chocolatey than others, and others were more coffee than chocolatey. So you got different experiences with which one was winning out, you know?
But I think there's stouts where certain flavors will depreciate pretty quickly. You know, any chili beer like a Mexican stout, Mexican cake. I mean, you know, you want to drink it fresh, or you'll lose all of the chili. The chili will go away within like 90 days. It's almost like hops, you know.
And something like that, where there's like a chili or something, it makes sense because that's the whole point of it. You want that, you know. It doesn't make sense to age something where the spice, that heated spice, is like a main component of the beer. It's kind of like you're just defeating the purpose of even buying and aging it. You're just supposed to drink it. But there's a lot of other beers like North Coast's, what is it, Old
Rasputin? Old Rasputin?
No, their other one, the Old Ale or Old Stock Ale. What is it?
Stock Ale. Yeah,
that one. That's a beer that sometimes needs to be aged.
Yep.
You know, you open a fresh one of those, and it'll just burn the roof of your mouth away because some of them are really hot.
I have 13 and 14 of that beer. I'm still trying to get 15. It's almost over. But just to digress for a quick moment, because we're talking about aging beers, this one right here, the Abyss, that beer with about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years on it is incredible. I mean, it's like drinking silk, like drinking like a multi coffee stouty flavored silk. It's
sounds good.
I'd probably say the best aged beer I've ever had was Sierra Nevada put out those specialty anniversary beers in Jack's or whatever something, and I had one of the ones that was a black barley wine, and it was about 3 years old when I finally opened it up, and that's probably one of the 5 best beer experiences in my entire life, and I never had it fresh, so I couldn't compare it, but yeah, that was pretty spectacular.
From a Sierra Nevada beer. I mean, nothing against Sierra Nevada, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that, right? But anyway.
It was a big 750 mil, and they made like 3 or 4 versions of it for their anniversary, like 20 whatever anniversary it was. And they had made a couple of different barley wines and things, but this was like like I said, like a black IPA. It was a black barley wine, so you had the roasted malts inside the barley wine, which I'd never tasted anywhere else before, and I must have drank it at the perfect sweet spot for aging, and because it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, Randy, I remember that Abyss. I mean, it was the Event Horizon bottle release, like in I think 2013, and it was a bottle share. And one guy, he was like the rep. He brought a vertical of Abyss. I think it was 9, 10, 11 or something. And I'd never had the beer, but yeah, I thought it was pretty impressive. You know, pretty sweet, pretty like you say, slick and silky. You know,
it's absolutely.
Yeah, I've never had Abyss, so.
Oh man. It's something else. I think like, so when the Abyss gets released, right? People recognize it, right? Look, Abyss is getting released. People are like, oh shit, Abyss is getting released. But I think it deserves a little bit more hype than that. It's one of probably in my opinion, one of the best barrel stouts out there, and it's not just like straight up barrel aged. I know we're supposed to be talking about Founders, but let me just go off on this real quick. It's so it's a malt beverage brewed with blackstrap molasses licorice with cherry bark and vanilla added with 6% aged in oak bourbon barrels, 11% aged in oak barrels, and 11% aged in oak wine barrels.
I think that varies though by year, the blend, right?
Right. Well, yeah. The blend varies by year, but the point is there's layers of complexity there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
They can brew.
Yep. One thing I'm like looking at this KBS, and it's just, you can tell, just like, even though this is an old one, tilting it around in the goblet. I mean, just like the viscosity is high. I mean, there's like even though there's no head at all on this thing, you got like a meniscus. You know, it's like it's not runny. I mean, it's thick. That's
I'll
cool.
tell you what, man. Don't ever drink KBS behind Bourbon County Stout. I know, a lot of us don't like to buy Bourbon County Stout because we don't want to give AB our money.
I don't care. It's
But
good. It's a good beer, man.
if you
Yeah.
drink KBS behind Bourbon County Stout, KBS will taste real mediocre.
So I'm getting ready to go pull down one of my Bourbon Counties from this year and see if you're right, man. Yeah.
Hey, Freddie.
All due respect, Dave, if you're watching, which I know you're not, but just
He's
saying.
not. Yeah, trust me, he's not. Yeah,
Trust me, he's
my
not.
grocery store here. I mean, we had the full on at our beer store, the full on Black Friday for Bourbon County, but I got this pretty big grocery store like 2 miles from my house, just in a suburb.
Specs.
And it's not Specs. It's a HEB. It's a grocery store, and they get, because they move volume, they get a pretty good allocation of Bourbon County, and nobody knows they have it. So I was going there like 3 days in a row. Myself, that they had a 2-bottle limit, but I'd go in. My 2 twin daughters, one of them, then the other one, wearing different color hoodies, and we're getting like 6 bottles a day for like 3 days in a row. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Wait, what beer was this?
Bourbon County, the new,
Okay.
just the regular one, not the. I haven't seen any of the rare stuff or proprietors.
The variants apparently either they brewed a really small amount of them or they just went hella fast.
Yeah, I think both.
Freddie, what up?
What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing?
How's that cron job running, Freddie? Fully automated?
Man, the worst so far. I got a long night ahead of me,
Oh, that sucks to be you.
but I'm here.
Okay, good.
I could be anywhere in the world, but I'm here.
Yeah. We feeling you, man. We feeling you. You're not like you're not in the shoe tonight. You're like upstairs. Tiffany let you upstairs, huh?
I'm free tonight, boys.
Okay, nice.
It's towards the end. It's holiday season.
Okay. Normally you're down in the shoe and there's like no paint on the wall and you just got like this vent above you and yeah.
Yeah, man.
Freddie, you drinking the Founders beer?
No, man. I have just KBS and Backwoods Founders at the moment, and I just didn't feel like cracking any of those tonight. I got some Texas guy sent me some beer, so I'm trying some out.
You trying to help him out?
What are you rocking? Oh yeah, Hop Delusion.
Yeah, Hop Delusion.
What do you think of that, Freddie?
It's good. It's really good. At first, it's funny because I got this right out the fridge, and at first I didn't like really. I tasted like a sweetness, like a malty sweetness to it, and I was like, okay, let me just let it. As it warmed up, I started getting more of like an herbal note to it. Some like it's like a danky citrus as well, and it's definitely, it looks like it's coming out more a little bit now as it's warmed up. Actually, it's pretty funny, but
yeah, it's like a summer seasonal. Actually, I didn't even know I had that can. It was like kind of buried down. So it's a couple months old probably, but fresh, it's pretty killer. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty tasty though. To be honest, it's hanged on.
Yep.
It's hanged on to a lot of
yeah.
all the notes.
It's kind of like I think I've had it. I did it on our dip double IPA hangout. It's kind of like a fresh squeezed in a way. It's that kind of, it's a tropical starburst kind of when it's fresh,
Yeah, you can definitely smell it in now though.
Yep.
Especially in the can, but it's good. It's tasty, very tasty.
Glad that box finally showed up, Holmes.
Man, you and me both.
Yeah.
So what do you guys drinking? What are you guys doing for Founders tonight?
Jeffrey's drinking KBS. I'm drinking Backwoods Bastard, and Charles is off style.
And Doug was on style, but he left. He was drinking what's the Cascadian Dark Penance.
Yeah.
The Dark Lord, the Dark
Randy,
Knight.
didn't you mention, or am I jumping the gun here? Didn't you say you might get Project Pam?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to go to the store today.
I had a chance because I had a chance to get that too, but knowing that I was gonna work, I just kind of passed it off and did it for next time.
Yeah, I was passing on that beer because I was skeptical about how an IPA was going to play with with maple, but I saw a couple of folks post online, and they were saying that the beer itself is actually pretty malty.
Yeah.
And so, but I think maltiness can play well with maple. So I'm probably still gonna try to pick one up just to see how it is, and throw Founders a bone. But yeah.
I mean, is that supposed to be limited, or what's the deal?
Nah, it's on the shelf.
Yeah, I haven't seen it down here at all.
Yeah, Project Pam. It's a barrel-aged maple. Is it maple bourbon barrel or just maple?
It's barrel? A black IPA, right?
I think it's a maple barrel. I'm not sure what kind, but I think it's just like oak age maybe or something.
So maple barrel-aged IPA.
Okay.
Or a double IPA.
Black IPA.
Okay.
Yep.
And you hate black IPAs. You just told us about that.
Yeah, but I love barrels and I love maple. So 2 for 3 ain't bad. Barrels check, maples check, black IPA.
I like big barrels, and I cannot lie.
Yeah, man. So what did I miss in discussion here? I know you guys started.
We only started like 7 minutes ago, Freddie. I mean, this is like the slowest start technically of any Friday Night Hangout ever. So yeah.
No, we've been on for about a half hour.
Yeah.
Well, we discussed our favorite. What's your favorite Founders, Fred, if you have one?
Oof. I'm trying to think now. I put me on the spot. I'd say my favorite go-to for their dark, like for the stouts, it is gonna be breakfast or imperial. Probably breakfast when it's around. I tend to grab up a good amount of that. And I mean, I can't say I really have one favorite, to be honest. I can't.
You can have a favorite of a style.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make a lot of styles. I mean, that's the good thing about the brewery.
Yeah.
They're pretty good at a wide range of styles, you know?
Yeah, just one beer from them, but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think for like IPA.
I mean, their Centennial's awesome. I mean, it's middle of the road, but it's solid, you know?
I'm trying to think, what the hell did I have? I might have to check my Untapped.
What's their session IPA called? Is that all day, or is that something else?
Yeah, all day.
All day.
Yep. All day.
For me, their stouts is going to be a toss-up between CBS and Imperial. When it comes to IPA,
I can see something like that, but I'm like, I never had CBS, but I'm saying like I was thinking KBS, but I don't think it's like, you know what I mean? I'd probably drink KBS over breakfast stout, but I can't get KBS obviously as much. You know, it's not as available to me as breakfast stout would be. So.
Yeah.
So Freddie, here's a question. Randy made a comment, maybe a few minutes before you came on, and said, "Hey, don't ever drink KBS behind Bourbon County because you'll find KBS to be pretty uninspiring." Comparing them, current vintage, latest vintage, what would you say?
I agree with Randy on the Bourbon County because I think it has a much richer and deeper barrel complex.
Yeah.
Than KBS. But I think we're now with craft beers now. It's again, I think it comes like everything else. It's like it's a lot of competition out there. Like it's no longer like, oh, it's Kentucky breakfast stout, and that's wow, yeah, wait for Founders. Now it's like tons of people kind of make that same style when it comes to like the bourbon barrel, like breakfast stout, and I mean, it's for what they were when they were. They're still there, and they're still a great beer. But there's tons of breweries now out there that's just like right there. Like they're on Founders' ass. They're even maybe a couple feet past them. It's just that's the way it is, man. It's moving steadily. People are coming up with great recipes, and just barrels are everywhere. And I don't know. I'm assuming barrel prices went up, and people are still pumping them out, man, like nothing. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you, man, a Founders beer that is
underrated. Yep, go ahead.
Go ahead, Freddie.
No, I was gonna say, not to cut you off, but I thought, from what I thought like what's it called? Sunday Morning Stout from
from Weibacher.
I've never found that beer, and I'm curious to try that. Back to back with
that was
money.
So delicious.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, man.
And that could be had fresh too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
but Randy, you'll note he also said Imperial Stout, which we were talking earlier is probably underappreciated in the Founders portfolio.
Yeah, that's a beautiful beer.
Yep.
Beautiful beer.
Well, another underappreciated beer in the Founders portfolio, I think, is Devil Dancer.
Yep.
Which is I think that's a triple IPA.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful beer, man. I think. I mean, if you want your hop fix and you got access to Devil Dancer, you pick that bad boy up, and it's gonna be all you want.
Yep.
So Freddie, Randy said like when he had Imperial Stout, he felt like he was cheating on his wife. I mean, did you have that same guilt feeling, or?
Super rich and luxurious.
Imperial?
Yeah.
No, I think I had Imperial a few times before I ever had. So I guess I felt like when I had like KBS, I felt like I was cheating on Imperial. You know what I mean? Like I was
saying Imperial is like super decadent and rich and like this bomb ass mouthfeel. I mean, if Imperial is a stout that Founders sells in 4-packs that most breweries would only sell in bombers.
Yeah, right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Or brewery only release. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they were to put that in a bomber, they could charge what they charge for a 4-pack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's also a little bit of my complaint. Founders is widely distributed, so I went out this week to try to round up some stuff, and I don't like to drink 12-ounce bottles. It's like a waste of. It's not good for the environment. So I'm looking for bombers, and there's no Founders bombers. I mean, they have a lot of 6-packs and 4-packs, but the only thing that was, there was no backstage series stuff. I mean, the Redank was the only thing that was available. So I was looking for some Blushing Monks or Rubaeus or something.
Yeah.
They go from 12 ounces to 750s, I think.
Yeah, I'm
I
all
see
about that.
You got that Ridiculous right there, huh?
Yeah, that's what I drank earlier, man. So
What'd you think about that?
So a recap. I mean, I think if it was called better than average Imperial Red Ale, I'd be all over it. Because it's a great red ale. Imperial Red Ale, you get big kind of grapefruit rind up front and then pine in the back with a pretty solid malty caramel backbone. But it's got this label that's like a Chia Pet. That 70s show denim jacket
Jeffrey,
patch.
You see, so that label, that's all done with hops.
I know, but it's just, so to me, when I see that, I'm like, oh, this is going to be just like wet and dank, and it's not that. It's got a nose to it, but it's not, it's middle of the road dankness as far as I'm concerned. So that, it's just a marketing thing. I think the marketing overshot the actual beer, but it's a great beer. No worries about it. I've had it twice this year, and I'd buy it again. But it should be called better than average Imperial Hoppy Red Ale, not ridiculous.
It missed the mark for me.
Yeah.
Like one beer, I remember actually when my son was like a little bit right before my son was born. I remember, I forgot what it was. I forgot who was drinking. It was Big Luscious. I think it was the raspberry stout.
Yeah.
It was a bomber. I remember buying that. I was like, "There's no way I can finish this. This thing is like way too sweet, like raspberry syrupy, like stoutish." And I'm like, okay. One of the things I don't know why it just popped in my head, but I was thinking about, I mixed it with breakfast stout, and it tasted money with breakfast stout. And now I was thinking, like, damn, I should have mixed that with an Imperial. Would have been even that would have been awesome.
You still get the same amount of type 2 diabetes if you drink all the sugar in that thing eventually.
I feel less.
Just not in the same night,
I feel less guilty.
Okay, Lola. Yeah.
I put a stopper. Hashtag wine stopper.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'm like, don't tell nobody else that.
Yeah.
What else? What else? What else we got going for Founders? I saw there was a bar. It's like in like Northwest Mass, and they had I think it was earlier this week they had CBS. I found it pretty interesting. It was like kind of
So
random.
that's got to be a pretty well connected bar then, if they had
Yeah.
a signal of
It was in,
CBS.
it was in a town called Haverhill. I'm not sure what the bar was named,
Yeah.
but it had it. I saw a couple people checked in on the on Tab and on Instagram and stuff. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't make that 40-minute drive though.
You got to take the T up to that to check that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of us, I think Randy's probably the only one on this call that's had CBS. I've heard a lot about it. I've lusted over it, but I've never had it.
I get this, when I had it, it was like that much. Like it was a
Yeah.
taster.
At a bottle share or something. I mean, I've never been to Founders Brewery. I mean, I'd love to go there. I think it's got to be a pretty great place to go to.
Yeah, Gil's been there, but no
Yeah,
surprise.
I know.
No surprise. Gil's been to every brewery in America.
He's been everywhere, yeah. Where is Gil? I haven't seen him in like 2 months, man. He's like folding rugs.
Lifting rugs.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay, we're gonna basically start wrapping up here.
Yeah, wind this shit
one of the
down.
things, though, I wanted to say is Founders is one of those breweries where they make probably, I don't know how many different styles of beer.
1,000 styles.
Yeah. And they
Don't
do
exaggerate, Randy.
and they
Don't
do a really
exaggerate.
good job at all the different styles that they make. Even their regular lineup is pretty extensive and pretty varied. There's something pretty much for everyone from Founders. Whatever kind of, like, whether you're a hoppy or a malty or a chocolate or a coffee or anything like in between, they pretty much make something for you. And they're definitely one of those, like, I put them in the upper tier as far as breweries go. And I would consider them probably I would consider them a good brewery to, like, put a newer craft beer person, push them in their direction, because you can, just working your way through Founders, you can explore so many different styles of beer. So I like that they don't do one thing. They really go out there and do all sorts of stuff. And with their, I guess, that backstage series, that's where they can really experiment well beyond their own wheelhouse. But
I agree.
Yep.
They definitely. I mean, they do it. They've been doing it for a long time and doing it right.
Yeah, and they do have great artwork on a lot of their bottles too. So.
And you know what? The fact that they brew so many styles and they're kind of successful, it's a testament to the brewers that they have, right? I mean, that's a big deal to be able to brew that many different styles of beer and still come out with quality products on each shop. I mean, who knows? Maybe they throw away a lot of beer. I don't know, but when they put a beer to market, it's usually
good.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a brewery where I don't think I've ever tasted anything in theirs and not liked it. I mean, they may not hit the mark on where they were trying for, or what the marketing team decided to market it as, but they pretty much have solid beers across the board. They make good stuff.
Absolutely.
They're never at the bottom rung of any kind of style that they put out. At least I haven't come across any of them yet. So. And apparently I was looking at our schedule, and we're not doing a show next week or the week after, because next Friday is Christmas Day, and the Friday after that is New Year's Day.
So we won't be seeing it again until January 8th.
Yeah, so.
But we're coming back with a vengeance.
With a vengeance. Straight out of Compton.
We're celebrating, and Randy's got one of them on his shelf back there. It's on January 8th, we return with the brewery.
When is that? What day is that? That's the second weekend?
Yeah, the first, well, I guess technically it's the beginning of the first weekend in January. January 8th.
8th, okay. So I got to find some brewery.
Put it that way, guys. If you plan to drink that Friday night, make sure you have nothing to do until like Sunday, because the brewery makes some pretty high ABV stuff.
Exactly.
I'm never drinking either of these
Yep.
by myself.
That's
Yeah.
why we're here with you, man. You're gonna drink them with us. You're not drinking them by yourself. You're drinking them with your closest friends.
Without physically pouring some of the contents of the bottle into someone else's cup.
Yeah. Okay.
No chance.
Yep.
Yep. So I guess we'll take this time to wrap up and say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays to everyone else.
Empty cup. Cheers.
Keep it real, kids. Drink good beer. Right on.
Cheers.
I guess we'll probably
Just a
get
craft
together offline or
Yeah,
just online, but not live at some point.
definitely will.
But just want to
If you want to get up in this after party, let us know.
Yeah,
Hook
yeah.
you
We
up.
have slots open. Anyone wants to come into the after
3,
party?
4 viewers we have.
That's including us, right?
Yeah.
If you want to get in the after party, let us know. Obviously, there's room for you. For all 4 of you. So come on.
We're gentle.
Yeah. And again, from all of us at Craft Beer Nation, it's been a pretty damn good 2015.
Oh yeah. Been fun.
And just want to say, visit us at craftbeernation.org again, and have a good night and good New
Live
Year.
long
everyone.
and prosper.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah, absolutely.